Why modern shoes ruined our feet. The hunter's secret. The modern collapse. Look down at your feet. Right now, you are probably wearing a pair of modern running shoes, boots, or sneakers. They have thick, plush foam heels, narrow tapered toe boxes, rigid rubber soles, and built-in plastic arch supports. Modern shoe companies spend billions of dollars marketing these features. They tell us that human feet are weak, fragile, and defective, that without layers of synthetic air bubbles and stiff wedges of high-tech foam, our joints will shatter under the stress of walking on asphalt. Yet, despite all this modern engineering, we are living through an epidemic of lower body breakdowns. Over 70% of modern runners suffer repetitive stress injuries every single year. Millions struggle with chronic plantar fasciitis, shin splints, blown-out knees, collapsed arches, bunions, and lower back agony. We buy more cushioned shoes to fix the pain, but the injuries keep coming back. Now, look back 50,000 years into the Pleistocene. An ancient stickman hunter is stepping onto the jagged terrain of the East African savanna. He is completely barefoot. He has no orthotics, no air cushions, and no padded heel wedges. Yet this man can run 20, 30, or even 40 miles across baking dirt, razor-sharp rocks, and thorny brush in the blazing afternoon heat. He does it day after day, tracking prey for hours on end without tearing his plantar fascia, without blowing out his meniscus, and without suffering chronic joint pain. How could an unarmored barefoot hunter survive decades of brutal long-distance tracking while modern humans in $200 running shoes can barely jog a 5K without needing knee braces and ice packs? The answer is simple. Your feet aren't defective. Modern shoes broke them. The masterpiece of human anatomy. To understand how modern shoes crippled our movement, we have to examine what the human foot actually is. Leonardo da Vinci once called the human foot a masterpiece of engineering and a work of art. And from an evolutionary standpoint, he was completely right. A single human foot contains 26 bones, a quarter of all the bones in your entire body, 33 complex joints, over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments. Over 200,000 individual nerve endings. The foot is not a rigid block of meat that needs an artificial scaffold. It is a dynamic, load-bearing spring and sensory organ. At the center of this mechanism is the windlass mechanism and the plantar arch. Unlike a stone architectural arch that gets supported from underneath, the human arch is a dynamic suspension bridge. When your bare foot strikes the ground, your toes splay out wide, creating a broad, stable platform. As your body weight loads downward, the arch compresses slightly, storing elastic kinetic energy in the thick band of connective tissue known as the plantar fascia. Then, as you push off the ground, the arch snaps back upward like a catapult, releasing that free elastic energy to propel you forward. When you run barefoot, your foot is a self-stabilizing, shock-absorbing suspension system that actually grows stronger the more you use it. So, what happens when you stuff that masterpiece into a modern sneaker? The 3 deadly sins of modern footwear. Modern footwear fundamentally disrupts human biomechanics through 3 design flaws. 1. The raised heel drop. Almost every modern running shoe, boot, and dress shoe features a heel that sits 8 to 12 millimeters higher than the front of the foot. This artificial wedge tilts your entire skeleton forward. To keep from falling on your face, your body has to make micro-compensations. Your knees bend slightly, your pelvis tilts anteriorly, and your lower lumbar spine arches under unnatural compression. Worse, a thick foam heel encourages a dangerous movement pattern, the violent heel strike. When you have 2 inches of squishy foam strapped to your heel, you can slam your heel bone directly into hard ground without feeling the immediate bone-jarring pain. But foam only masks the feeling. It doesn't eliminate the physics. A heavy heel strike sends a vertical impact transient shockwave straight up your shin bone, into your knee cartilage, through your hip socket, and directly into your lower vertebrae. You have bypassed the foot's natural shock absorbers and turned your joints into the impact zone. 2. The tapered coffin toe box. Look at the natural footprint of an unshod human. The widest part of a natural foot is across the tips of the toes. The big toe points straight forward or slightly outward, acting as the primary anchor for balance. Now look at a standard modern sneaker. The sides of the shoe taper inward toward a sharp point at the front. This design squeezes the big toe inward, creating a condition called hallux valgus, more commonly known as bunions. When your big toe is pinched inward, you lose your primary lever for balance. Your foot can no longer splay to absorb shock, causing the arch to collapse inward, overpronation, and torquing the knee joint with every single step. 3. The sensory blindfold. Your foot sole contains one of the densest concentrations of nerve endings on your body. In nature, these nerve endings provide instant, millisecond feedback to your brain about ground texture, slope, moisture, and impact force. If you step on a sharp rock or strike the ground too hard, your brain instantly adjusts muscle tension to soften the landing. Thick rubber soles act like a sensory blindfold. Your brain can no longer feel the ground, so it stomps downward even harder to search for stability, increasing impact forces throughout your lower body. The ancient superpower, persistence. Hunting. To see what human feet were truly designed to do, we have to look at persistence hunting. 2 million years ago, before the invention of bows, arrows, or throwers, our hominid ancestors evolved a hunting strategy that no other mammal on Earth could match. On the African savanna, four-legged prey animals like antelopes, wildebeests, and zebras can easily outsprint a human in a short burst. A cheetah or gazelle can hit 50 to 60 miles per hour, while an ancient stickman can only run at 10 to 15 miles per hour. But four-legged mammals have a fatal biological flaw: heat dissipation. Most mammals can only cool down by panting. When an antelope gallops at top speed, it cannot breathe independently of its stride. It must take one breath per bound. Furthermore, covered in thick fur and lacking efficient sweat glands, its internal core temperature skyrockets within minutes. Humans, on the other hand, evolved two revolutionary biological adaptations: millions of active eccrine sweat glands across bare skin, allowing continuous evaporative cooling while in motion; an upright bipedal barefoot gait powered by the elastic Achilles tendon and the plantar arch spring. An ancient hunter didn't need to outsprint a kudu. He just needed to track it during the hottest hours of the midday sun. The hunter ran with a forefoot or midfoot strike, landing lightly under his center of gravity on the balls of his wide, splayed feet. His ankles and arches absorbed the impact like hydraulic pistons, his cadence hovering around 180 light steps per minute. The antelope would sprint away, hide in the shade of an acacia tree to cool down, and just as its heart rate began to drop, the barefoot hunter would appear on the horizon, jogging relentlessly. After 3 to 5 hours of continuous pursuit, the animal's core temperature exceeded 108 degrees, forced to 52 degrees Celsius. Overcome by heat stroke, the prey collapsed, completely immobilized by exhaustion, run to death by an ape that never stopped jogging. The archaeological proof. Anthropologists and evolutionary biologists have studied modern unshod populations, such as the Tarahumara runners of northern Mexico and the Hadza hunter-gatherers of Tanzania, who spend their entire lives barefoot or in paper-thin leather sandals. The data is undeniable. Unshod populations have significantly wider fan-shaped feet with thick, robust arches. They exhibit virtually zero rates of chronic plantar fasciitis, flat feet, or bunions. When running, they naturally adopt a gentle, spring-loaded forefoot strike, generating zero vertical impact collision force compared to the massive spikes seen in modern shod runners. X-ray scans of 10,000-year-old human skeletal remains from the pre-agricultural era reveal dense, strong metatarsal bones, perfectly aligned phalanges, and zero structural foot deformities. For 99% of human existence, foot pain wasn't an unavoidable symptom of aging. It was practically non-existent. Reclaiming the ancient spring. We don't have to throw away all our shoes and run barefoot across broken city glass to fix this problem. But we do have to understand the evolutionary blueprint of our own bodies. Modern shoes were designed like casts. They immobilize the foot, brace the arch, and cushion the impact. But when you put a healthy limb inside a rigid cast for months or years, the muscles atrophy, the tendons stiffen, and the joints become fragile. By choosing footwear with wide toe boxes that allow our toes to splay, zero-drop flat soles that restore our natural spinal alignment, and flexible materials that let our foot muscles work, we can begin to wake up the 200,000 dormant nerve endings in our souls. Your feet were built through 2 million years of brutal evolutionary testing to be the most efficient, durable, long-distance running machines on the planet. They don't need a foam cage to survive. They just need the freedom to work the way nature intended.